Welcome to the Hip Hop Movie Club podcast. I'm Dino Wright, longtime hip hop fan and co-host of the show. Like the name says, my fellow HHMCs Boogie and JB and me talk hip hop movies. Today we have a special episode with very special guests DJ Arm18 and DJ Cap Cee, two of the Lehigh Valley's greatest. We're talking top 3 hip hop movie soundtracks. What's your top 3? See if we link up on the Sync Up next on Hip Hop Movie Club. Fair warning, this episode has some grown folks language.
Hello, everybody. We have some special guests today on the Hip Hop Movie Club podcast. We have DJ Arm18 and we have DJ Cap Cee, some prominent hip hop heads from the Lehigh Valley, PA. And we're happy to have them on our show today. And we're going to go around and discuss what we consider are the top hip hop soundtracks of all time.
Welcome, Arm18 and Cap Cee.
Well, what's up? I'm DJ Arm18 coming from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I have been DJing since I was about knee high, listening to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. And I'm lucky enough to parlay that into a career teaching at Northampton Community College, class on hip hop history and sociology. And when I'm not, teaching and answering emails, you can find me spinning vinyl around Eastern PA region.
All right.
Right on.
I'm DJ Cap Cee, born and raised in New York, money-making Manhattan. Moved out here. I'm a transplant. Moved to the Lehigh Valley. I'm a DJ MC. Been rocking crowds for many years, almost 25 plus years, either on the mic or behind the turntables. And if I'm not boosting real estate tapes or brushing my teeth with DD7, I'm hanging out, chilling.
DD7.
So why don't we kick it off? Boogie, why don't you give us, what do you think are some of the best hip hop soundtracks of all time and why?
All right. So, in no particular order, I just was trying to figure out what I would actually put as my top 3. And even this top 3 right now, as I'm looking at it, I could probably swap another one with one here. It's just like so fluid. But I remember when these particular soundtracks came out in the moment and how they made me feel when they dropped, and just looking at the titles of them brought me back to that time. So this is why I'm picking these ones. So my first one I have is Above the Rim. Above the Rim, released on March 22nd, 1994, Death Row Interscope record label. This soundtrack rang off my senior year of high school, and it hit like a bomb. I remember just the way it made me feel. So that's my first one. Let me see. My second one is actually a twofer. The New Jersey Drive soundtrack, volumes 1 and 2. I'm a Jersey head. New Jersey Drive takes place in my hometown. And this soundtrack just made me feel like I was at home. It was my freshman year in college. And I remember how this soundtrack made me feel. I wasn't even a fan of the movie at first. The movie had to grow on me, but the soundtrack, the minute I heard it hit. And I feel it to this day. All right, so my third one, this one is one of my favorite, based on one of my favorite movies. So because I see the movie so much, the soundtrack is kind of ingrained in my head, and that's Juice. Released December 31st, 1991, MCA record label. So there's my 3 that I have: Above the Rim, New Jersey Drive volumes 1 and 2, and Juice.
So Boogie, what were some of the key tracks on those? Because I'm not as familiar. I've heard of the New Jersey Drive, but I don't really know the songs. Obviously, I remember Above the Rim had Regulate at the end, and that was amazing. And I know it had another couple good songs. What were some of the key songs on some of these?
All right, so to go back to Above the Rim, some honorable mentions: the Anything soundtrack remix, SWV and the Wu-Tang Clan. If you know, you know. that song, Dog Pound for Life, Holla If You Hear Me by Tupac, the late great Tupac. Afro Puffs by Lady of Rage. Regulate by Nate Dogg and Warren G. And Stick 'Em Up by the Beastie Boys. I mean, those are some honorable mentions off of that soundtrack that make that one stand out. There's other great sounds in there as well. But those are the ones that immediately pop off the top of my head. New Jersey Drive soundtrack had a couple ones that are a little more obscure. Don't Shut Them Down by Ill and Out Scratch was a dope track. But the one that really banged out was that Can't You See by Total with the Notorious B.I.G. That song banged out. So as soon as it dropped, everybody was riding around playing it. You couldn't go anywhere in the hood without hearing that song playing. Then you got Benzabima by Outkast, was another dope track. Heads Ain't Ready by the Boot Camp Clip was on Nobody Beats the Biz by late great Biz Markie. A couple tracks, like there's a song called Jersey. Obviously, it's a Jersey anthem by Queen Latifah, representing the hood. Check It Out by Heavy D, who also had a brief cameo in the film as well. So that's what, kind of popped off of the New Jersey Drive soundtrack. So as far as Juice, one of my all-time favorite hip-hop songs, Uptown Anthem. The intro, that with the piano, just for that moment, just sets it off right there. You got Juice, Know the Ledge by Eric B. and Rakim. Enough Respect by Big Daddy Kane is Going Down by EPMD. And then you have some New Jack Swing tracks on there. Is It Good to You by Teddy Riley. Don't Be Afraid by Aaron Hall. You got Shoot 'Em Up by Cypress Hill. I mean, it is a good soundtrack. I mean, those are my top three right there. Like I said, I could probably make an argument for a couple of other soundtracks, but these are the three that I went with, just off of the way they made me feel in the moment when they dropped.
Cap Cee, I saw you. Yeah, Know the Ledge. That's on my list too. Yeah.
Know the Ledge is what made Curtis Jackson want to be a rapper. So
Yes, indeed.
it's pretty great. It's pretty great.
That's amazing.
Inspirational.
I was going to say, Cap Cee, I saw you nodding your head during this. Do you want to nominate some of your favorites or comment on Boogie's list?
So for me, honestly, what do you call it? I gotta agree with Juice. I mean, obviously, Juice was ridiculous. Had probably that was probably the dopest, soundtrack with all those cuts. I mean, Rakim, Kane, EPMD. I mean, just that alone, like those three names alone, you're just like, okay. And then now I'll be honest with you, with New Jersey Drive, Volume 2 to me was better than
Volume
1.
two.
So Volume 2 had the because that had J-Ru on it. That had
Invasion.
that had a lot of dope tracks. Invasion. That's what my joint. So Volume 2 is dope. I'm gonna add the Who's the Man soundtrack because that
It gets slept on.
that soundtrack is ridiculous. First of all, Biggie's first track ever, Party and Bullshit,
Right.
is on it.
Uh-huh.
Hitting Switches by Eric Sermon. That was his first solo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You got freaking Heavy D and Buju Banton on there.
Yes.
The title track by House of Pain. That's that illest bass line you'll ever hear in like amongst all ill bass lines to start a song. I mean, you had freaking
Third Eye.
yeah, Third Eye, Ease Up, which that's like my most favorite slept on track ever. I know that song word for word. It's ridiculous. I don't know if it's embarrassing or it's dope that I know that. And then it's like, and then freaking P Rock and Seal Smooth, Who's Next on the Menu, which is extremely slept on track that they did. So, and Jodeci's on there. Let's Go Through the Motions. So a lot of dope tracks on Who's the Man. Now, like, I don't know, because then you get very conflicted. Like, what are dope soundtracks? Like, what's really out there that really sticks? And like I said, if there was there's movies that have great soundtracks in the movie, but they're not really soundtracks. You know what I mean? That are available and stuff. So it is tough. Rhyme and Reason was a dope one.
Yes.
Rhyme and Reason was a real dope soundtrack that had Tragedy by RZA. That had man, you know what? I gotta pop these on. Trying to guess what's on them, and I can't even think of it. Well, Rhyme and Reason was another one that was real dope. I'm throwing them out there. Don't Be a Menace soundtrack was real dope.
Yes, that was a monster soundtrack. Yes, indeed.
That had the Ultimate Capadonna verse. That had Winter Wars on it.
Yeah, Winter Wars. Winter Wars.
So,
ooh, yes.
Oh, and High School High soundtrack.
Yes.
High School High.
There were bangers on there too.
Yeah.
So, Yeah.
That's like you need
Well,
like five.
I'm just throwing them out there. I can't really decide. Can't decide. Like this is where we have to now pick apart and be like, oh, okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like another one that was sticking in my head too was that Men's Society soundtrack. Like I remember when that soundtrack dropped, I listened to that soundtrack every day of summer of '94, every single day.
Society, wow.
Every single day.
Oh man,
Spice One is on that, right? Spice One, Ant Banks, Too Short,
MC8.
Yeah. Cheer.
MC8's in a lot of them.
Oh, you know what was on Menace Society was the first KRS premiere track with The P Is Still Free. That was their first connection.
Yeah, the remix. Yeah.
Damn.
That was his last song that he recorded as BDP. Like so. Right after that, he went as KRS with Premiere.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good soundtrack.
Wow. All right. What's next? Who's next?
Yeah, DJ Arm 18. You want to add a few more? Comment on these ones?
Yeah, for sure. Like I just for whatever reason, Juice. I always come back like Juice. I agree. Like it seems like it's so tight to me, but there is one Achilles heel. Is like if it had how could I just kill a man instead of shoot him up by Cypress Hill? Then I think it would be a what? Like it would be a what? Do you know what I mean? Like, and it was in the movie too, so I never.
That was the house party version. That was the house party scene.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but it's a really tight, like Cap said, like when you have EPMD, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane on a soundtrack, that's kind of, not to mention many others, that's pretty tight. It's kind of dope hearing about Above the Rim and remembering like, Death Row is like, it's on T-shirts now that you could buy at Hot Topic. But there was this, you know what I mean? Like there was this moment where Death Row was like, "Yo, who are these dudes? They're about to destroy the industry." And Above the Rim was that because I think Chronic still lived within, like, okay, that there goes Dre and Snoop, like this cat Snoop, like Death Row, cool, but like Above the Rim, they made it really clear that they were not taking shorts.
Word,
I guess. I always come back. I come back to Wild Style because, it showcases a lot of MCs like Cold Crush and Fearless 4 and, Double Trouble. These cats didn't have hit records at all, but they're legendary performances in that movie, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's dope. And then so many of the beats and samples just like became a part of hip hop, so.
Word.
Whether it's just like concert scenes or the Illmatic intro or whatever. So I just feel like it's foundational.
Okay.
I
feel that.
I always had a soft spot in my heart for on that old school tip for the Fresh soundtrack. As much as you remember, as much as that little kid was annoying in that movie, the one that he was like the little fat Joe, like that soundtrack is a great showcase of old school tracks of Houdini and Grandmaster Flash Furious 5 and I forget the song Funk Box. I forget who that's by that Master P took and then it's got these 3 Wu-Tang songs like out of nowhere, right? So you've got all this old school and then because it's on Loud Records and Wu was in between that time between 36 Chambers and all their solo stuff, it was like, okay, well let's pepper them with some of these new Wu songs. And you got a Jizza song, you got both Ray and Ghost doing Heaven and Hell and the Simple remix. And it's like I rock the hell out of that. I love that one because and as a DJ, that vinyl is great because it's got old school party anthems, or you could use it for like, some deep Wu cuts. So I love it in that regard. So yeah, Fresh. And then one that like that has stood out to me lately, and maybe it's what is it? What do they call that? Recency bias. Is I just listened to is the Poetic Justice soundtrack. Because after hearing you guys talking about Tupac and his impact on movies and so on. I went back to that soundtrack, and it has a bunch of like a song like Warren G's first track that he produced for what's his name with Indo Smoke is the name of the track with Mr. Grimm, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great like kind of early G-funk anthem. It's got One in a Million, which I think is one of Pete Rock and CL Smooth's greatest songs. It's got Cash in the Hand by Nice and Smooth. It's got a dope Tony track.
Yes.
It's got a lot of good stuff on it. All in all, it's like a good varied soundtrack. So I like Poetic Justice as well. And if Cap's throwing out 5 or 5, 6, 7, I'm throwing out one more in there.
Please do.
It's weird. I would never say to someone like if you're trying to do a party or whatever, like put this soundtrack on. But if you want to know mid-90s hip hop, the Soul in the Hole soundtrack is like mid to late 90s. That one's tight. It's, Woo, Dead Prez, Big Pun is on there, MOP,
Smith and Wesson,
yeah. brand new making a comeback on there. Organized, Common, like it's crazy the amount of
I forgot all about that joint.
Yeah.
And 97, 98, something like that.
That was like I think the final push of underground, like that whole scene. I think that was like the final push of it and stuff with all those guys. Yeah. Wow,
97.
I totally forgot about that album.
Mm-hmm.
Soul in the Hole. Wow.
Soul in the Hole. I can't front. I never saw the movie, so I don't even know. But I had the soundtrack. Like, if you listen to Soul in the Hole soundtrack, okay, let's listen. That one's tight.
Wow,
I think that one's tight.
That's crazy.
Good stuff. So
what else we got?
Yeah, I'll nominate a couple too, and I think Dino Wright will piggyback off of the one because I know how you're thinking. Because we were college roommates back in the day. Boogie, Dino Wright, and all went to school together, so we got a lot of commonalities. But so I'll Crush Groove, just because, again, foundational, like you said, DJ Arm, it's like these guys were so young and precocious at the time. It has Beastie Boys' "She's on It," which I don't think it appears on any of their other albums. That was like an EP single for that. I Can't Live Without My Radio by LL Cool J, and he performs it in the movie when he was literally like 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
If I Ruled the World by Curtis Blow, which Nas ends up doing a version, his own version of that. The Crush Groovin' song by the Fat Boys. The All You Can Eat was just hysterical as well. Sheila E. with Holly Rock. It's like it's not going to totally blow you away, but being that these folks were so young and like they had the foresight to put that all out there, even to do the movie, like Russell Simmons doing that movie was like, I can't believe that the way we described it on our podcast episode about that, it's like you watch that, it's like having a time capsule that you're opening and enjoying. You're like, oh my God, these guys were so young. It's just, and the soundtrack's solid because of that. Also, I had Juice on my list because of all the reasons you guys all said, so I won't rehash that. But the one, and I think Donna Wright will piggyback on this, and we used to have this when playing a lot in college, was the Judgment Night soundtrack.
Oh my God.
It was so the concept was so unique to mesh the hip hop stars with the alternative grunge and or metal adjacent stars. Like, where else could you see Sonic Youth and Cypress Hill on a track, and Dinosaur Jr. and Del the Funky Homo Sapien and Biohazard and Onyx, and
my joint was Helmet and House of Pain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Helmet and House of Pain. That was the first track. Just Another Victim, right? Yeah. Pearl Jam and Cypress Hill on the same track, and like most of these were really dope.
Wow,
like
they were dope.
That was
what was De La and Teenage Fan Club, right?
Yep.
You got it. Yeah,
they did fall in. Yeah.
Dope soundtrack.
That was a dope soundtrack. The worst terrible movie.
What I like.
The movie wasn't.
That
so
was
good.
that was literally like Purge, like 90s style. It was so terrible. It was like, what is going on here? Like.
The movie that was shown on.
Cuba Gooding Jr.'s movie.
Yeah, that was, and Emilio Estevez was in it too. I think, so bad.
Yep, that's right.
That movie that shall not be named.
I saw it once. I saw that movie once, but I listened to the soundtrack maybe 1,000 times.
Oh,
exactly.
Yes.
So good, so good. Like, because these two different styles, you don't, some people would see them like as oil and water, like they don't mesh at all. But these guys made it happen because, like when you're back in high school, it's like you got your metal heads or your grunge guys, then you got your hip hop heads, and like they never the twain shall meet. But this like kind of brought them all together.
Yeah.
Kind of like, when Aerosmith and Run DMC got together earlier, Walk This Way. And then when you see, I guess it was probably after this, when you get the Anthrax and Public Enemy with Bring the Noise, like that was amazing. I would go back and watch that video all the time. You got like Scott Ian, like literally rapping on that. So I love how it brings those two genres together. Yeah, so that's my list, was really Juice, Judgment Night, and Crush Groove.
That's funny.
Solid.
Dino Wright,
solid.
what you got?
So basically, you've all mentioned the three that I had. The three that I had: Juice, Wild Style, and Judgment Night. And for a young guitar player, also hip hop head in the '90s, like this was like a perfect record for me because it had Living Color on it, and they're my favorite band of all time. And so to have them playing with Run DMC rapping on it, it was.
Oh, is that me in my microphone? Was that me in my microphone? Me myself on my microphone.
Yep.
Yeah, that was dope.
And
That
so
was dope. I remember.
Couldn't get it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so already like being a Living Color completist, I was like, oh, gotta have this one. And then it turns out like rap and rock together worked really well. Some of it afterwards doesn't work so well. Like new metal wasn't really my thing, but this source material, like we were saying about foundational soundtracks, like this was foundational for sort of the later, mid '90s forward stuff. And so, one we haven't mentioned yet, I should mention, is Beat Street. That's another foundational kind of soundtrack.
2 volumes too.
Yep.
Yeah, and Boogie has them too.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so many of them, but Juice for me, like Know the Ledge, is just such a good song. Like it could have been a one-track soundtrack, and it would have been great. I just listened to it today and I'm like, wow, this feels brand new. Like this could have happened. This could have come out today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's that clean. So yeah, those are my three.
I was thinking back again to the revolutionary concept of Judgment Night. This predated acts like Limp Bizkit and like Linkin Park.
Exactly.
And Linkin Park.
Right.
There we go. There's
there you go.
Oh, nice.
Cap Cee's holding up the
Street Breakdown. Yeah, but like a lot of those acts probably kind of were inspired by that Judgment Night. So
Judgment Night.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, you really that era is also when Rage Against the Machine's first album comes out, and that's you really said basically an MC fronting a thrash band, and so that was that whole era was very formative for this kind of combinations and different combinations, not just rap and rock together, but you saw a lot of different things.
Then you got Limp Bizkit.
For better or for worse.
Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park and some of those, I guess, rap adjacent type groups. Yeah.
Korn was also
Korn,
in the mix. I think Korn was probably the better, the rich man's version of Limp Bizkit.
The rich man's version of Limp Bizkit. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Oh my god. Any other? All right, now I'm looking at a list of all hip hop movies, and I'm like, all cut up in here. So are we like definitely like all agreeing that Juice is like number one?
It's the top.
Like
yeah,
I feel like Juice has gotta be one.
It came up pretty much on every one of our lists, so I think Juice is
we all
in the top
mentioned
3.
Juice is up there.
We all
5 for 5.
Juice took it all.
Yeah.
Juice is like,
And no Tupac on the actual soundtrack.
No.
Amazingly.
Yeah, that's another. See, it's a weird. Like I said, I think it's great because the high points on it are so good, but it is kind of flawed in that they missed opportunities. I think, like with Tupac or the Cypress Hill song.
Right,
that's true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Son of Berserk, that's the worst Son of Berserk song too. Like
Son of Berserk. I told.
Nobody likes them except me, and I'm like, that's their worst song. Like I don't know what they were thinking, but by that point in the album, like you're not.
You don't even care.
You've heard like you've heard bangers. You're just. I like Is It Good to You? That Teddy Riley
That was
joint
dope.
is hot.
Yes.
That was dope.
Yes.
Every soundtrack
Yeah.
in that time had
That's
like
a
a
club
New
banger.
Jack Swing song all the time. Like,
Yeah.
Right,
you always
yes.
had a New Jack
Yeah,
song
yeah.
there
Yeah.
somehow. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This had two. This had two. Is It Good to You and Don't Be Afraid.
don't
Had
be
two of them on it.
afraid.
Oh, yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
lay down to sleep.
Yeah.
Lay down to sleep.
Oh my goodness.
Aaron Hall,
Taking me
baby.
back.
And
Taking
then
me back.
come to find out, he was doing crazy.
Ball
Yeah,
head.
he was not a good dude. Later on. Yo, we missed out. All right, so I'm looking at a list here. So let me throw these out. Sunset Park.
Yes.
That
who
had
was in
freaking
that?
Motherless Child by Ghostface.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good
there's a
one.
couple of Wu tracks on there.
Oh, is it Mobb Deep right back at you?
on there.
Right back at you. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a
There's
good song.
dope
man.
ones.
I like that.
Now, here's the thing. As we're talking, I was thinking about this. Would you consider, because it's called a soundtrack, Murder Was the Case?
Wasn't that a
Yeah,
long form video?
And there was the soundtrack to it, which had Natural Born Killers by Ice Cube and Dre. It had freaking Murder Was the Case. Had Sam Snead, You Better Recognize. I mean, those are bangers, like real sick bangers.
So the soundtrack was longer than the long form video.
Yeah, basically.
You get more bang for the buck with the CD.
Yeah, it had that. DJ Quick was on there too, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
they were
all. There was a good lineup. That was like that was their whole roster practically.
Yeah.
They were all on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was like
I would count it.
Danny Boy.
Danny Boy. Yeah, that dude who never did anything after that. Sam Snead. Yeah, Sam Snead dropped that one song. And you were like, yo! And then it's like, never again. It's like
He moved to the Poconos.
Off into the
he
wind.
moved to the
He
Poconos.
disappeared. He disappeared.
So we didn't even mention 8 Mile either. Obviously, Lose Yourself, but Jay-Z and Nas are on that as well.
Yeah.
What songs are on that?
So I was checking this out. There's a song by Nas called "You Wanna Be Me," and Jay-Z with Freeway has a song called 8 Miles and Running.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot all
Yeah.
about that. Wow.
Yep.
Wanksters on there.
50 Cent, Wankster. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's right.
So that has some good ones. Yeah.
You got Gangstar and Rakim as well.
Did they add OC and those tracks on that soundtrack too, or no?
Oh, see.
Because they used Time's Up. They used the instrumental for Time's Up. They used the so.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, they didn't add those. If they added those, then that would have been like number 2, because those songs are ridiculous. So, I mean, damn, the movie starts with. Doesn't the movie start with Shook Ones?
Yeah, Shook Ones. Yeah.
The opening of the movie starts with Shook Ones. You're like, damn, okay. All right, we're about to begin. Like, this is great.
But I don't think that appears on the soundtrack. It's in the movie, but I don't think it's on the actual soundtrack.
It's not.
I was just telling him, I was like, yo, Transformers Rise of the Beast has the dopest 90s soundtrack ever right now. Like,
Is there a track list for that?
and there isn't a soundtrack, like an actual album soundtrack of it. So people are just making playlists of what they heard on the movie. But it has like Rebirth of Slick. It has freaking Cream by Wu-Tang. It has like, it's just sick. Like, dope ass soundtracks. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like, great music. And then I was like, do they have it? And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, it's great. Thanks. You guys suck.
You know, I think Belly has a pretty good soundtrack too. The opening scene, the Belly is just outrageous. Like
Soul to Soul.
However you want me.
Soul to Soul.
However
yeah,
you
Soul to Soul.
need me.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You can't even beat that.
Can't go wrong with that.
I don't know if the entire
Walking through the
soundtrack
tunnel.
holds up, but
Walking through
yeah,
the tunnel,
can't forget that opening.
exactly. That was the tunnel.
Mhm.
That was the tunnel, all right. So,
Yes, sir.
and that's
Oh my
that
God.
was the wildest. I think that's
A lot of wild,
dopest
a lot of
opening.
wild nights in the tunnel.
Yeah, those are the dopest opening I think you've ever to a hip hop.
Because Hype Williams, what do you
Yeah.
expect?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Hype Williams is a janitor, yo. How did he go from a janitor to like multi-million like director? That's nuts. Yo, janitor is like the job. Like Hype Williams was a janitor. Ed Lover was a janitor. Like Al Scratch was a janitor. Like,
Kurt Cobain was a janitor.
Really? He was? There you go. What's going on? What's up with these janitors, man? I ain't dissing janitors ever.
No,
They're the geniuses. They're the geniuses.
I mopped floors and cleaned toilets for 4 years at my daughter's school.
There you go.
All right? Like,
There you go. See?
Janitor life.
It.
Hashtag
Geniuses.
Janitor life.
There you go.
Janitor life.
So I did all my thinking. Like, how am I going to get out of this job? This is...
What about Russell Simmons, the show?
See,
Another good
I
one.
had the show on my list, but I didn't pick it because it was more so a documentary. So it was like a cheat code.
It was like a cheat code.
Right.
This soundtrack's gotta be hot. And I was like, that was like an obvious pick. So I was just like, I didn't pick that one, but it was a banger, definitely a banger.
I mean, there's a lot of.
You ever peep the Ghost Dog soundtrack? Not the RZA score, but the one like where there's like a G-Rap and RZA song.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Wu song. That one's it. I give it a certain nod. Fast Shadow was the shit.
Bullworth.
Bullworth.
What was the big hit from Bullworth?
That movie did have a good soundtrack.
Ghetto Superstar.
Yes.
Ghetto Superstar. Yep.
Ghetto Superstar was the Bullworth one. But now I'll be real with you. My track on Above the Rim was the SWV Wu-Tang. That was my track.
Yeah.
That was on there. That was like the first track, I think. That was my joint. And then Pour Little Liquor, was that on there? Pour Some Liquor. Was that on there too?
I think so. Yeah.
On Above the Rim. That was Tupac and the Outlaws, I think.
I believe.
Yes.
So.
Yep. Pour a Little Liquor. Yeah.
That joint was hot as hell. So, I'm not that much of a Tupac fan. So, but certain tracks I'd be like, word. So, he was dope. Dopeness.
That movie is so underrated. I wish that was on more often. It's harder to find.
It's a
but
meme now. It's a meme.
Great.
The guy that's pulling up
It's a
the
meme.
gun. when Ja
also-
Morant was like,
It's definitely a meme. I've definitely seen the John Moran reference.
Oh man.
But the funniest thing is Leon shows up in like looking like a longshore fisherman and just schools these folks. He's dropping.
He's corduroys on.
yeah, Leon.
Yeah, exactly.
Leon is like the go-to for all these movies, man. It's hilarious to me. Leon fits like everything. Temptations, freaking Five Heartbeats, freaking
5 Heartbeats.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Leon's a trip.
He played Jesus. He played Jesus in Madonna's like a prayer.
Oh shit, that's right.
Video. That was Leon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So wasn't the Above the Law soundtrack longer on tape? Didn't it have extra tracks on tape?
The law.
Above the Rim. Above the Rim.
There was a bonus version of it.
There's very few releases where the cassette hit you off with bonus tracks.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the real value.
Interesting.
Why would the cassette have more?
P. Rock and CL Smooth did that too for Mecca and the Soul Brother.
On cassette?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that's right.
Yeah, they gave you the remixes of Creator and
then
Mecca and the
Nas
Soul
did
Brother.
that with It Was Written. It Was Written had the cassette had Suicide. What do you call it? What was it called? Suicide.
Nas did it too on It Was Written.
It was on the CD. It was on the cassette. Oh no, Silent Murder. Bum, bum, bum.
Silent Murder. It was over the soul strings, right?
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, that was on a cassette. That wasn't on the CD. That was
I got to give it a cassette level. I don't know. Above the Rim is solid.
Uh-oh.
It's solid. I'm kind of recap. It's like Boogie. I don't know. I would have to square off with you, and I would have lost. But like I was an East Coast overdoser. Like I don't know when it was, but it was basically after like Enter the Stage and 36 Chambers. I was just like, we're done with the West Coast. I'm not listening to anything in the West Coast no more. We're ready to set it.
DJ Arm18, that was great knowledge. The cassette version of Above the Rim had extra tracks due to time constraints on the CD.
Uh-huh.
It says it had Pain by Tupac, Me Money Right by Lord G, and Loyal to the Game by Tupac. And also
How the
featured
hell
tracks
did a
from Naughty
CD
by
have
Nature.
time restraints?
Yeah, that was great.
It did. Yo, when we switched from mixtapes to mixed CDs, I remember being frustrated because I would make mixtapes in 90-minute chunks. And then on mixed
they were
CDs,
60 minutes.
like you could
72
minutes. You could jam on extra tracks, but it could make your CD skip.
That's
like,
right.
You get to the end and start skipping. Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Remember, like burning a CD would take like an hour.
Remember that?
Yep.
It was like, oh, but you have it on CD now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I like. I'm gonna give it up to Above the Rim. I would have never back in the day. But I see Above the Rim's value in
Above the
in a
Rim.
real way.
Would that be number 2?
Above the Rim. And then for number 3, it's probably a battle between Judgment Night or like Wild Style or B Street, like one of those old OG ones.
I'll do Wild
in the
Style.
early 80s.
I'll do Wild Style for number 3.
If you're a hip hop purist, yeah.
Now, just for argument's sake,
Yeah.
I'm not really nominating it, but I think we got to say something about it. If the song "Fight the Power" always ends up in the top 5 of like whatever list of like best hip hop songs of all time, and that maybe it won't in the next 50 years, and it's going to get erased. But like, I don't think so. It always seems to be a part of a conversation.
Yes, it always is.
Doesn't the Do the Right Thing soundtrack then get some sort of acknowledgement that you're like, it has one of the best songs in all of hip hop history?
Yeah, but it's one
on
song.
Yeah.
I know. I know this is thin ice. I'm going out on.
No, I looked at that too because I was thinking like, well, how many rap or hip hop songs were on there, and I was like struggling to find them, and it was basically an R&B soundtrack.
Yeah,
Yes, it was
with like a juggernaut of a hip hop song on it, with was like the crux of the movie. So I had trouble leaving it off of somewhere in my list.
It's on Motown Records, which is kind of wild if you think about it. Like,
yeah,
I mean, Motown wasn't sniffing any hip hop acts, and then they get this put in their lap because they agreed to make it with Spike. Like, I don't. It's just it's an interesting idea. I'm trying to think of the other song. I have to dig it out. Is it up here? Do I have it on? Here it is. All right. This like Jenga. All these tapes are gonna come falling.
DJ Arm18 goes to his collection.
Okay, it's got the obligatory New Jack Swing song on there. It's got a Teddy Riley joint. It's got a Go-Go EU joint. All right, come on, let's go. Here we go. We got Steel Pulse. We got a reggae joint on there. All right. Now a bunch of no names. Another no names. All right, take 6. Let's go. Take 6.
Okay, take 6.
Al Jarreau. Look, Al Jarreau trying to make a comeback in 1989.
Al Jarreau. Okay, the Scat Man.
Yeah. And Ruben Blades, Cap. There you go. All right, come on, let's go.
You need to give up, man. You need to give up. It's not even happening.
Right thing.
It's not even happening.
Nominate the right thing.
If we're gonna nominate it by one song that was prevalent, then you should freaking nominate Dangerous Minds because that had Gangsta's Paradise on it.
Dangerous Minds, right? Yo, what about all right, here's another. This is another podcast that no one wants to listen to. Soundtracks that only had one good song on it. And when you said Dangerous Minds, do you remember Dangerous Ground? Do you remember that? That was one of the late 90s movies, and it had a KRS track on it called Perhaps She'll Die that I thought was ill. It was ill. He took that children's like nursery rhyme, like Perhaps She'll Die, I don't know why she keeps swallowed a fly.
Oh yeah.
So you have
Oh,
KRS like chatting that over a beat, and then he drops like this ill tight little verse. Is the only reason why I bought the soundtrack was for that
I
one
didn't
song.
even heard of this movie, but
Yeah. I didn't know
Dangerous
that.
Spike
Ground.
Ones,
remember
Too
that.
Short,
Dangerous Ground. I remember
Sally
that.
Cell,
Dangerous Ground. What was the
Ice
movie
Cube,
about?
Jay-Z is a track on this. My
See?
goodness. Okay.
Wow. That's a deep cut.
So it
DJ
was
Army.
an Ice Cube movie. Who knows?
1997
Who knows?
action thriller film. Okay.
See?
You
Oh,
you
man.
just
I'm derailing the whole night. Just finding soundtracks with one good song.
Yo.
Obscure.
wait a minute. All right, we're gonna have to make Above the Rim number 2. We all did not mention that.
Uh-oh.
You know what's on there? Regulate by Warren G.
Regulate.
You know, we mentioned
Yeah,
that. We
no,
mentioned
yeah.
that briefly.
Did you
Yeah.
mention it?
That ends the movie. That's the very end of the
Yeah,
movie.
that's
Yeah.
Regulate.
And it has
Yeah.
Afro puffs.
Yep. That
Yeah,
one too.
that's
Yeah.
what we didn't talk about Lady Rage.
So, yeah, you know
Yeah, that's the Regulate Afro Puff.
All right.
Above the Rim was 2.
Above the
Yeah,
Rim's
it's a
number
solid
2. That's it.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
definitely leave it at number 2. You can't pass Juice. Don't talk this freaking do the right thing crap. Ain't happening. It's not happening.
Come on.
Not happening at all. You need to stop.
Yeah, we can settle on Wild Style. We can settle on Wild Style for 3.
I think Wild
'cause
Style's
it's
dope.
kind of foundational.
I mean,
And there's going to be a lot with honorable mention. Like I said, Beach Street, maybe Crush
the
Groove.
Friday soundtrack.
Yeah.
Friday soundtrack was good. It was a
Oh,
soulful soundtrack, but it had some bangers on it.
Had some bangers on. Oh man, you know what? Soul in the Hole had a crazy lineup. It
Uh-huh.
also
It's on the whole.
it also had
I
Exhibit.
just-
It had Dead Prez. It had Big Pun.
Yeah, where were you in the beginning of this? You were writing your list. You weren't listening
No,
to a
you
damn
said
thing I
some
said.
people. You didn't say Big Pun.
Okay.
What about the Oz soundtrack?
The Oz soundtrack. What's on the
You mean the HBO
What's on
show?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was the Oz theme, which is Cool G Rap, Lord Jamar, and Talib. You had Pharoah Monch, What Is Law, Behind the Walls, Corrupt, and Nate Dogg. Land of Oz, Snoop Dogg, and Cocaine.
Okay, I have another all right, it's not a nomination. It's another one of my like just think about it.
Okay. Here you go.
It's not a hip hop soundtrack per se. Dead Presidents.
Oh, Dead Presidents is one of my favorite soundtracks ever.
I'm saying like for me, I as someone who is just beginning to get into digging around 95, like of course I had listened to Parliament and like James Brown and Kool and the Gang. That was the first time I really sat down and listened to like who else is like Spinners and Dramatics and Isaac Hayes. Like I said, I remember the first time we listened to The Look of Love, and we just, blazed up to all 13 minutes of that song or whatever. It was like, wow. Like it made me love funk and soul music for what it was, not just because it got sampled or whatever. And I thought that was a good soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Dead Presidents.
Oh yeah, that's a crazy soundtrack. I love that soundtrack.
This has some great songs on
Yeah.
it.
And I know it's not hip hop per se, but wasn't that the same brothers who did Menace Society?
Hughes Brothers.
Hughes Brothers, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Songs that got sampled, like this the source material.
Yeah.
Yo,
I just got to give a
if
shout
we're
out
going
that
to be
one.
talking that, man, then you got to throw New Jack City in.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, we didn't
You
mention
did not
that, did
mention
we?
New Jack City.
Yeah, not. Yeah.
And only had freaking it was all R&B more than anything, to be honest with you. I want to
sex you up. That's your joy.
That's my joy. What? It had two different versions. You had the Freeze version,
what?
and you had the OG version. There's two different verses and everything.
What else is from that other than the title track?
New Jack Hustler.
New Jack
Yeah, the
Hustler
title-
by Ice
that-
T.
New Jack Hustler.
Um,
And,
It's just
I'm
great.
Dreaming
Yeah.
by Christopher Williams.
I'm dreaming. Yeah,
I'm dreaming.
that was my song right there, though.
That
Don't wake me.
So yeah, there was a couple of New Jack City was. I mean, I remember a lot of people bumping that album when it came out.
Wait. We didn't talk about House Party.
Damn.
We did not talk about House Party.
House Party. Paid in Full has Paid in Full on it.
Does House Party soundtrack have Paid in Full? Which one? The Cold Cut?
No. I'm talking to no.
No. The movie.
Oh, the movie.
Movie Paid in Full. Yeah,
Oh.
I was switching. Yeah.
Which one? Oh, you.
But no, House Parties have great
House Party
soundtracks.
had that LL song I loved, where he disses everybody.
Oh, To the Break of
To
Dawn.
the Break of Dawn.
That's on House Party.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, before it was on
Oh,
Mama.
damn.
It also has "I Can't Do Nothing for You, Man."
Yes, there you go, Tyler. There we go.
Holy
I like
shit.
that little slave tie-in.
Are we
Oh.
sleeping on the House
Yeah,
Party
why you
soundtrack?
getting Why you getting
that
funky
cracked
on
me
me?
up so
Now I'm
much.
looking this shit up.
You got a rip in your couch.
Yeah. Why you getting funky
Yeah,
on
Can't
me
Do
was a
Nothing
good
for You, Man,
song.
To the Break of Dawn.
Yeah. I can't do nothing for you, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Ain't my
Funhouse
type of
by Kid and
hype.
Play. The Kid and Play Battle.
Yeah, full force, right? Because
Jive Time Sucker. Jive Time
Yeah.
Sucker.
Kid versus.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wait. Who knows the story behind this? Because I just heard this in the last year or so. That movie was going to be a Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince vehicle, but
Yes,
it didn't work
that's
out.
the truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about this when
Yep.
we reviewed this. I forget the.
You guys talked about it,
We
right?
did. It's on.
We
It's
did.
in our podcast.
Mhm.
How come Jeff and Will Smith didn't do it?
But I also have some weird note in my notes here about some lawsuit from Nightmare on My Street or something. I wonder
That's what
they
it
were
was. That's what
they
it
were
was.
battling
Yeah.
that or something. So they were in the throes of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So they're wrapped up in that. Movies got to get made, so then they moved on to Kid and Play, who were perfect for it.
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
How
perfect.
do you think it would have been with them, with Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff? Do you think it would have been the same dynamic, or you think Kid and Play was the perfect fit? Like you think that Will and them would have done justice to it?
I don't know if Jeff has the acting chops. You know, even in Fresh
Yeah,
Prince,
it's
all he
not-
does is get thrown out of the house all the time. Like he has very minor roles. We can't.
I mean,
I don't know.
well, for one, the dance battle scene wouldn't have
You're
definitely
right.
went the way
Right.
it
You're
went.
right.
Exactly.
You're right. You're right.
Because Kid and Play had that they had that dance on lockdown. I mean,
Yeah,
That's
they're
really the
Will
crux of the.
We'll have footwork, but he
wasn't like that. No, that
he wasn't such a
dance
kid.
scene
Yeah.
alone, hands
Yeah.
down, which is what made that movie so large. And
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
that introduced the Kid and Play kick step to the whole world. Like, you know, that's
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
like a cultural
Yep.
like phenomenon right there. Like everybody tries to do it.
Mhm.
So yeah, you
Everybody can't go to a
Exactly.
wedding without seeing somebody try to do it.
exactly. So yeah, you can't.
People pull me in all the time. I'm like, I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad that actually all went down. You know, things happen for a reason, so you never know and stuff. So because to be real with
Yeah.
you, let's imagine because that was the time that Will was going broke. I think Will was broke, like he was going broke, and then
Yeah.
that's why he ended up then hooking up and finally hooked up did Bel Air.
Right.
So, but just imagine if he
Yeah.
did do that movie, would there ever been a Fresh Prince of Bel Air? To be honest with you,
Probably not.
like,
Yeah, it all worked out.
So it
Yeah.
all worked out in the end. So that's kind of wild that all that went down. Oh, kid, hold on. Where is it? Where's my shit? Hold on.
What's he behind it?
Yes, Shun.
His Kid and Play.
Yes, Shun. We do honorable mentions. So I gotta represent.
You got
all
the
right.
Funkos, pops.
But, hold on, hold
High top fade.
on. So you got to put them this way because they are doing the kick step look together.
That's
That's
great.
great.
See?
I haven't seen those ones.
Oh, they got the two hype shirts
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, that's the 2 hype shirts. Yeah. So the 2 and then the hype. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are dope. These are dope. Can't go wrong. My Funko Pops, killing it. Yeah, craziness. Oh man. All right. Well, hey man, I'm down with Juice. I'm down with Above the Rim, and I think I'm really down with Wild Style for 3. So
Solid.
I think I'm solid on that
Yeah.
list.
It's solid. It's solid.
We did
Yeah,
good work here,
that
fellas.
is solid. Yeah,
list.
Yeah.
for sure.
So
I'm trying to make an argument for House Party
Stop
3,
it.
but I just can't. I'm looking. It's got Red Hot Levertone, AMG. It's got How About Some Hardcore by
Really?
MOP. I don't even know what that's doing in that movie. Yes.
What is going on here? Who put these
Wait a minute.
soundtracks on? Like, who the hell? And was it immature in that shit? Is there an immature track in that album?
There is.
There's gotta be one.
There's gotta be
They're
an
on
immature
there.
track.
There is.
Wakes you up. Wakes you up.
God. Boomerang soundtrack. Throw that in. Let's go.
Boomerang had
Yeah,
hot sex.
track
There we
called
go.
Quest, Hot Sex on it.
That's true.
Anything with Tribe.
No-
Anything with
Yes,
Tribe.
it did.
Nothing but trouble with the
Oh,
same
shit.
song.
Oh yeah, Digital
Wow.
Underground.
Yeah.
That was Tupac's first foray. to
Intro to
rap, yeah.
Tupac. Yeah.
One of the hilarious moments of our 50th anniversary celebration was our man DJ Sasquatch put on Same Song, which was, it was like, word, we want to hear this. We want to, like, let it play. We want to hear Pac's verse. But we kind of had, like, it was late in the night. The next DJ, we were doing 1 for 1. Each DJ goes back and forth. And the next DJ wasn't quite ready. And I don't know if you remember, that song's like 9 minutes long. And it's like, after Pac's verse, it's just like some dude doing like his Bernie Worrell like imitation solo. And me and Cap are looking at each other. We're like, yo, cut it. We gotta move on. This has been like 6 minutes of this. We gotta nothing.
Definitely the same old song.
That's exactly what it is. I didn't even know that song was that long. I was like, and he's like, yo, it's 6 minutes. Let it go. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I thought that shit ended when Tupac just fucking spit. I thought it was done.
Yeah, right.
Oh my Lord.
That's a solid 3. I think you could make a good
Definitely a
case.
solid 3.
Since we're doing show and tell, I got my custom De La Soul fan
So do I.
Yes.
from the Rock the Bells.
Yeah.
So do I.
Did you get one of
No,
those?
so our homie Round Sound, my man Che, he brought us. He went to the show
You brought
also,
some?
and he
Okay.
brought all of us the De La Soul fans. So
Yeah, it was hot that day. We were roasting in the sun for a
nice.
little while, but it was a nice venue at Forest Hills. I don't know if you've ever been to the Forest Hills, the tennis center.
No.
They did a great job.
that's awesome, man.
You're literally walking on like plush grass, like from the tennis court. And cool thing is, it was sponsored by Procter and Gamble and Walmart. So the bathrooms were like sponsored by Charmin. And they were these nice individual stalls with like cedar doors and stuff. I'm like, oh my god,
Oh,
I
shit.
didn't expect that at a
So
festival.
back like when Times Square was like when Disney took over Times Square, they were like doing all that shit. So I was with MTV at the time, and Charmin, where the Virgin Megastore was, like they actually next to it set up a full blown like bathrooms for anybody to go.
Yeah.
And it was Charmin.
Yeah.
So you literally like went up an escalator, and then you got it like it was these beautiful fucking bathrooms, and all it was like sponsoring by Charmin. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, all right, cool. So fucking
They know-
use the bathroom. You know what I mean? Got it. And
They know what us middle-aged people appreciate.
yeah,
Exactly.
I was like, do I get free toilet paper and shit? Like, do I get this? Like, they gave me a Charmin fucking like headband. I'm like, what the? How does that make sense?
Well,
How does that
what
make
to do with
sense? Look at a Charmin
go
headband.
put that-
Like,
Wipe
what the
something
fuck?
with it.
Put that on and go ball down at Rucker Park and see what they say.
Oh my god.
No, I got a bag of flushable wipes and a toilet paper holder they gave out.
Really?
They were giving
That's
out stuff.
hilarious. Oh my god.
Yeah. And they had the Charmin Bears with the gold chains. They were rocking out to a DJ
serious?
set. It was awesome.
Oh
yeah.
my god!
Yeah, I'll have to send you. I'll have to send you a clip. It was awesome.
Oh my god!
It was a great show. Though.
What did Procter and Gamble do? Were they giving out like free Crest and like?
Yeah.
I think Oil of Olay is one of their brands. They were giving out like face cream, and then also like unrelated, they were giving out like free ice pops or something.
Oil of Olay.
Seriously, there was an Olay person, and they're like, "Would you like face cream or would you like an ice pop?" I'm like, "It's 86 degrees and sunny. I'm taking an ice pop."
Yo, hip hop's middle aged. I love it.
It was amazing. It was great.
Yo,
They're trying to help the skincare regimen.
Oh my
they
god!
got Royal Flush giving out.
They were like, we're here for Ghostface Camé. This is why we're here.
So Ed Lover was there, and Ed Lover was actually killing time while Maceo had technical issues trying to get the De La Soul set going. He was doing like almost like a comedy hour, 10 minutes or so, but he was just pretty much talking how old everybody was. Like, who here was born in the 70s? It's like, who had Jordache jeans? Who had the names? Who had the names on the earrings and stuff? Who had the big name with the gold? Who had talking about the cassette tapes and winding them up and all this stuff? I was like, yeah, it was great.
Like everybody.
If you guys want to see a good interview, Ed Lover on Math Hoffa's Expert Opinion is a great interview. You definitely check that out. Really good interview.
Okay.
Like Ed Lover says a lot of shit on there. That's really good. Really good.
Good.
So
good to know.
Check that out.
Ed Lover. So all right, man. Yeah.
All right, fellas. We'll wrap it up here, Dino, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
This was a lot of fun, fellas. Honestly, I had a lot of fun doing this. So and I'm gonna go down.
Thank you both so much.
And I'm gonna go watch Leon dunk on motherfuckers. So and corduroys and shit.
And corduroys.
That's right.
Yeah.
With the Air Gordon's fishermen.
Big thanks.
And corduroys and wallaby.
Big thanks to DJ Arm18 and DJ Cap Cee for spending some time with us and dropping some science.
Yes. Thank you all for having us.
Stay tuned, listeners. We'll be doing some more collaborations with DJ Arm18 and Cap Cee.
Damn right.
Coming months.
So. Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Here.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Hip Hop Movie Club is produced by your HHMCs, JB, Boogie, and Dino Wright. Theme music by Boogie. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Hip Hop Movie Club. Shout out to you listeners. Thanks for tuning in. Special shout out to FeedSpot. Oh, yeah! Thanks for ranking us as one of the top 20 movie club podcasts based on traffic, social media following, and freshness.